Welcome back to my podcast. Alrighty, guys, welcome back to Review by Top Shelf Tammie. That's me, where I review and make book recommendations for you guys to read. I am excited today, as I normally am. We are starting a new series of books, so some fresh new reads for you guys, and I am excited to jump right into it. So, without any further ado, here we go. So, both of the books today are very interesting to me, and I think you guys are going to find them interesting as well because they are actually short reads or can be considered like standalone books, but they're part of a bigger world of books. So I really, really do like that. And yeah, let's jump right into it. So the first book I'm going to review today is Caught Me Slipping by Aubrey J. So this one was actually a first time read for me. This was a fresh read for me. But as I mentioned before, this book is part of a bigger world of books. So actually about like 80% in this book, I realized I read another book that's in this world. And you know what? I actually like that. So it was a pleasant surprise because the book that I originally read didn't give too much of this book away. So I feel like you can read other books that's happening in this world and you don't necessarily have to read the other books. You can kind of pick and choose the ones you like or the ones or the characters like you're interested in and kind of read their story. So as I mentioned before, I was about 80% of the way done with this book and I was like, wait a minute, these characters sound familiar. I think I read this book. And so, yes, I put two and two together and searched it. And I was just like, okay, this is really cool. So, without further ado, we're going to jump right into the review for Caught Me Slipping by Aubrey J. And then I'll give you guys a little bit more at the end, but then I don't want to give you too much because we still got questions and discussions. Y'all know how that goes. Alrighty, so Caught Me Slipping by Arthur Aubrey J. As I just mentioned before, this was not my first read by this Arthur. So I'm guessing I'm digging this person or I like them. The setting in this book was like a fictional setting, so they didn't mention it, which is fine. This book was published January 23rd of 2024. So last year, not too bad, but it didn't give any like 2024 slang, so it's not dated. My genre classifications of this book is a urban romance, true urban romance. It was no errors in this book. It was no vocabulary in this book, and that's okay. Our main characters in this book is going to be McCoy and Earth. McCoy is our girl, and Earth is our guy. And they were only two. So short, sweet, and simple. But as I mentioned before, it will be supporting cast, and it is other spin-off books. So you will get a sneak peek of other people, and then you can kind of like gauge from there if you're interested in taking a deeper dive into this world and whose stories you want to follow. So yeah. Alrighty. So without further ado, it's summary time. So let me jump right into the summary. Alrighty, so this is my summary for Caught Me Slipping by Aubrey J. McCoy Tolliver seems to have it all: a dream career, a beautiful home, and a man who once made her feel like the luckiest woman alive. But behind closed doors, her perfect life has become a nightmare. Desperate to escape her abusive fiance, McCoy makes a wild move. She kidnaps his biggest enemy, Earth Carlson. Earth, a street king with nothing to lose and a heart hardened by betrayal. The last thing he expects is to be held captive by a woman who looked like she walked straight out of his dreams. But as tensions turn to temptation, McCoy finds herself falling for the very man she should fear. What started as revenge becomes something deeper and way more dangerous. So y'all already know. So that's just my summary, but let me shorten this down. Let me shorten it real down for y'all. McCoy is gonna kidnap Earth, which is her ex fiance or fiance at the time, his op. Yeah, I'm gonna just leave y'all with that. We just gonna stick with that, okay? So we're gonna jump into the rest of the review, and then I'm gonna let y'all pick which one of these books y'all want to read. Okay. So my first question of the review, y'all know how this go. Was the book engaging? Yes, the book was very engaging. It definitely draws you in, even from the summary. You like, okay, this is not a normal storyline. This is not logical thinking. Kidnap your boyfriend's op. Like, what are we doing? You want to know. So absolutely, it's engaging. Was the plot predictable? No. So the plot is not predictable. Even as I said, I read a book that is in this series or in this world of books, and I still didn't know the plot. So the author, she did a very good job of kind of like keeping you guessing, keeping you on your toes, keeping you interested in the plot, not giving it all away, but not making it too crazy either. So that was definitely a plus. All right, so my book strengths was one of the book strengths I feel like is that this story is going to be a very great story as part of this collective world. So that is one of the pluses to me. And then my other one, which I kind of have not mentioned yet, a little bit in the summary, is the book is motivating. So like if a woman is in a messed up relationship, I definitely feel like it gives her hope to get out of that relationship and that is something else better out there. So that was like a message that I got from the book or whatever like that. And I feel like it was one of the strengths to me. All right. So the book weakness to me, right? So as I mentioned before, I got to about 80% of this book and I was like, wait a minute, I read something else from this book. So the book weakness to me is actually in the end when I was realizing that I had read another book in this world is the author is going to be adding characters, but she is going to add like 50 characters, and it's like character overload. It was too much. It kind of got confusing. And it was a lot. Like I said, if you have not, I don't know where you have to start. I don't feel like it's the correct order to read the books. I feel like you can kind of just dive into which ones you like because as I mentioned before, I read another story. I wasn't confused, or I wasn't that confused, but then this one, I really wasn't that confused, but it is character overload. They don't get speaking parts or too much storyline, but she's going to add like 50 characters, and it's like the introductory to everybody's, I feel like, spinoff book. And it was a bit much. So that was like the only book weakness to me. Other than that, it was a great story. Does the book achieve its goal? Absolutely. So the book is going to keep you entertained to the end. The book is going to draw you in to the point where you do actually want to read the other spin-off books. So she did a really good job. So I definitely feel like it achieves its goal. It kept me entertained. It kept me interested into wanting to know more to finish the book and also maybe taking a deeper dive into the other books. So now I can't promise you that I will come back with other books, but probably in my little low time, I'll probably read some more of these books. So yeah, absolutely. Did the book make you care about the characters? Yes. So I didn't want to give it away before I gave the trigger warnings away, but I'm gonna go ahead and just put it out there. McCoy is in an abusive relationship. And the way this man is like dogging her, you care. You like, girl, get a gun, get a bat, get a knife, get something. Like it really makes you end up caring about her well-being, her happiness. Like you want to see her get out of that situation. So absolutely. Was the plot and dialogue believable? Yes and yes. So I definitely feel like this was a believable plot. We hear of women in abusive relationships all the time. They are, putting up with it. They try to escape. They go back. It's a whole roller coaster of that. It is absolutely, so the plot is absolutely believable. It might not be your personal situation, but you might know somebody or you heard somebody, so you definitely can understand, maybe not so much as to relate, but you can definitely understand. And then the dialogue, I absolutely do feel like the dialogue was believable. It's nothing like too crazy over the top dialogue. She did a good job there. Inaccuracies, there was no inaccuracies, so good job there on proofing this book. Like I said before, it was no errors or anything like that, so go ahead, girl. Trigger warning. So I just gave a little bit away in the question before. There is some domestic violence, it is some sexual assault, and it is some murder. The domestic violence in this book is crazy. So if you are triggered by this is not the book for you. This is also the reason why we do the trigger warnings, because I don't want you to, read something or dive into something you're just not ready for. The domestic violence in this book is crazy. Um, but like I said, overall, it's still like that message of finding your courage to fight back, getting out of a relationship, knowing that you deserve better, you could do better. So the message is still there as well. So this book, Caught Me Slipping by Aubrey J. The review, I recommend you, and I give this book 4 stars. Alrighty, guys. So moving on, because this is the review episode. So we're trying to keep it short, sweet, and simple so you can get to your homework and then we can get to questions and discussions. Because I think that's what I really like. Alrighty, guys. So jumping into our second book of today's series. The name of this book is One Night Only by L. Casey. As I mentioned earlier, all of our books today are part of a bigger community of books and a bigger world that the author has created. So this one is the same, but we get a little twist with this one. This is a supernatural, just in time for Halloween, right? Okay. So without further ado, let's jump right on in to One Night Only. Again, the author is L. Kaysen. The setting of this book is going to be majority in Florida, but it started out in Louisiana. This book was published February 6th of 2025, so this is a fresh book. As of right now, the author mentioned in this book that it is going to be part of a greater world. I do not believe that the rest of the series is out yet, so just a little forewarning there before you dive too deep and you think it's more. But I think they're coming. My genre classification for this book is supernatural urban romance. So, yes, straight to the point is exactly how it sounds. Supernatural urban romance. Eras. So, it was no eras in this book, which is great. And then vocabulary. And we have some vocabulary. Gotta clap it up because we love a vocabulary queen. Alrighty. So the first word I thought was interesting because I never heard this word used this way, and it is cowed. So Cowed, and it is to destroy the resolve or courage of. So trying to like intimidate somebody. So great. I like that. The next vocabulary word we had was affronted, and this word means to insult, especially to the face. I don't need to explain that one. Somebody assaulting you or saying what they got to say to your face, offending you to your face. I think they standing on business, but that's another good word to, you know, use and replace with that. Alrighty. So moving on to our main characters. Our main characters in this book is Zuri and Malachi. So Zuri is our female and Malachi is our guy. Alrighty. So I am going to jump into the book summary and then we're going to wrap the rest of the review up. Alrighty, guys. Again, so this one is my summary for One Night Only by L. Kaysen. Zuri has zero plans to celebrate Valentine's Day until her world is flipped upside down. After catching her boyfriend cheating, she gets a mysterious invite to the exclusive Red Key Club. Curiosity and a little revenge pushes her to go. What she finds there isn't just luxury and temptation, it's danger wrapped in desire. One look from a stranger, one touch too many, and suddenly that one night only promise starts to feel like forever. But when passion mixes with secrets, Zuri learns that pleasure always comes with a price. All right, so I want to kind of give y'all like a little shorter summary of my summary, but I feel like I'm gonna give it away. This book is not long. It takes place in like 2 days, and if I give y'all a shorter summary, I'm gonna tell. I'm not gonna tell y'all the shorter summary. But from that, Zuri is gonna go to like a sex club. on Valentine's Day, and like Cupid is trying to set her up. But yeah, yeah, okay. So we just gonna leave it at that. Alrighty. Was the book engaging? This book is absolutely engaging. We talking about supernatural. We talking about love. I think the author did a great job of setting it up to the point where it's like you're engaged and you want to see what happened and you want to finish the book. So no notes there. It's engaging. Was the plot predictable? Of course not. This is a supernatural book, so everything is super made up from the author's imagination. So no, you don't kind of guess the plot. You don't kind of no no you don't. The book strengths. So I think the book strengths for me was that this is a unique story. I always feel like when we're talking about supernatural, that's always a book strength to me because nobody can tell you right or wrong when you're doing supernatural because it's completely from your imagination, and that's always a book strength. Uh, on top of it being, it was a very complete story. And I also think by it's going to be part of a bigger collection of books in this supernatural world that also helps make it a strong book as well. The book weaknesses. All right. So I don't really know if you can count this as a weakness, but I wrote it, so that means I must have felt that way. But one of the book weaknesses, well, the only book weakness to me is it's very short. So as I mentioned, it is a novelette. It does take place like over a course of like 3 days, 3 fast days. But not in a bad way because the author does still give backstory. We get good plot. We get good build up, climax, conclusion. So it was just short. It was just short. I'm gonna say this: it's some good sex, but because the book is short, we don't get a lot of it. So I think that's what it was. So I'll tell y'all that part. I'll tell y'all that part. Does the book achieve its goal? So yes, the book absolutely achieved its goal of keeping you entertained to the end, keeping you drawn into the characters, keeping you invested to the end. And I actually do think that it will keep you invested enough to go back and read other books in this collection of books in this world of supernatural. I can definitely, yeah. Did the book make you care about the characters? Absolutely. So I don't want to give too much away on who's going to be the supernatural. So I'm gonna just say yes, it does make you care about the characters. What I can say is that Zuri, she is wealthy, and a lot of people come around her for the wrong reasons, using her, and they really don't care. And so that pulls on your heartstrings a little bit. That definitely gets you interested in her. It definitely makes you care about her. If you are one of those stand up for other people type, then you definitely like, don't do our girl Zuri like that. So it definitely pulls you in, make you care about the characters. Malachi, you care about him too, but I don't want to give too much away. But absolutely, it does. Was the plot and the dialogue believable? So, yes and yes. So, again, the author has the advantage of creating a supernatural world. This is completely off imagination. So, it's no right or wrong answer to is the plot believable? Do it flow and it makes sense? Absolutely. So, it's believable. The dialogue is actually believable as well. So, they cross over from, so it's like supernaturals living amongst us. So yeah, so it's still like regular speech and it's not over the top. Dialogue is fine. Yeah. Inaccuracy. So it's no inaccuracies in this book and trigger warnings. It's not too many trigger warnings in this book, but it was some murder. It wasn't greatly detailed because as I mentioned before, the book is a shout. So of course we don't really got time to get into great detail, but it was there. So I don't know if some people just don't like violent books. But that concludes the review for One Night Only by L. Kaysen. And the review, I recommend you. And I give this book 4 stars. Yes. Alrighty, guys. So that is it for today's series. I gave you 2 great books. Hopefully you read one of them, you do some homework, and then you join me back here next week for the questions and discussions episode. Yes. So today, again, we did Caught Me Slipping by RBJ. I gave this book 4 stars. And then One Night Only by L. Kaysen. And I also gave this book 4 stars. As I mentioned earlier in the episode, both of these books are a part of a greater collection in their storyline worlds. You don't necessarily need to read all of them to read these books. You will be able to follow along just fine reading these books. And then from these books, you can kind of pick and choose where you want to go from there. So the authors did a great job there. Um, so yeah, again, no notes. Alrighty, so if you enjoyed today's episode and you are watching on YouTube, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to write in and give me your opinion on these books or give me any book suggestions, you can email me at ts_tammypod@yahoo.com. If you are an author who would like your book review or your poem read, you can also email me there as well, ts_tammypod@yahoo.com. And if you want to follow me on the socials, you can follow me on Instagram at topshelf_Tammie and on TikTok at Top Shelf Tammie. Alrighty, guys, until next time. See you next week.